think about energy security, often what comes to mind is these spectacular events, oil embargoes or petrol station queues or attacks on energy infrastructure. But fundamentally, energy security means two things: having the energy you need to run your economy and having it available at reliable, stable prices that enable economic growth and prosperity. And oftentimes when we worry about energy security problems, we forget about the second part, because it's fine to have available energy, but if that available energy isn't available at a price or at a level that enables the economy to grow, enables people to prosper, enables lifting people out of poverty, that isn't really providing you with secure energy. Well, one of the mistakes I think we've made in the past is we keep focusing on trying to identify where are there import relationships or trade relationships that feel secure. But that leads to a lot of mistakes. So for example, in Europe, there was a sense that Russia needed Europe to buy its gas as much as Europe needed Russia to supply its gas. But that interdependence isn't real and it easily can fall apart. And we saw that in the course of the war in Ukraine. We've seen countries invest a tremendous amount in building new trade lines to move hydrocarbons in order to support their economic security, but then those are vulnerable to interdiction or vulnerable to military threats. And all of those kinds of approaches that are about securing oil and gas fundamentally leave the country reliant and exposed to the global oil price or the global natural gas price, which is out of their control. So I think one of the lessons we need to learn is that the only real durable route to energy security is a resource like renewable energy that can be produced domestically, that can be secured and distributed domestically, and that's available at a price that's not determined by an international market. If Europe wants to be truly energy secure, Europe shouldn't be looking to replace Russian gas with another source of gas. It should be looking at how do we build an electricity system in Europe that genuinely can power the European economy with renewable energy. That means investing not just in production, but investing in the grid technology to distribute that energy and ensuring that the system is stable and secure day to day. In electricity, what that means is that generation and load, supply and demand meet in real time all the time. As we move to a system based on renewables, which aren't dispatchable, they're provided when the sun shines or the wind blows, or nuclear, which isn't dispatchable, it's a base load all the time, we need other sources of flexibility to keep supply and demand in balance. So what we're going to find is that the future of energy is much more defined by flexibility on the demand side, by loads that can adjust their consumption to match the power that's available, rather than the legacy system in which all of the security and stability was provided by generation. What really concerns me is that many policymakers, many thought leaders, many utilities are seeing AI and energy security as potentially in tension. They're seeing the growth of AI as a tremendous new source of load that needs to be served without necessarily plans to do that. And they're very worried that AI is going to be able to suck up all the power it can possibly gain. But actually, one of the attractive things about AI is that most of the computational power that goes into interacting with an AI model isn't being consumed in the moment you interact with it. It's being consumed in training that model, in processing the data to support it. And all of that can become a process that actually is flexible. So I think we're going to find that the current model in which AI leads to small numbers of areas with tremendous inflexible electricity demand is replaced by a model in which AI itself becomes a source of flexibility, in which the data centers that process that are much more distributed to match our consumption. And more generally, as more and more loads electrify, digital loads, electric vehicle charging, heat pumps, electrification of industry, which is an area I think is not given the attention it deserves, those all potentially become sources of flexibility that can contribute to ensuring a stable and secure European energy system. But that requires foresight, it requires planning, and it requires the right policy framework.